Hi, my name's Dee and welcome to Untitled Tarot and welcome to some general readings for the total lunar eclipse, supermoon, blood moon, flower moon for 26th, 27th of May, depending on where you are in the world. Now it's for the sign that is in the title of the video. It's a bulk introduction as ever. There'll be a timestamp that I'll put down below because I would suggest watch your sun, your moon, and your rising. And if you only get to watch one of them, watch your rising. Now, as ever, there's a link in the description down below for a birth chart, so you can find out your rising sign if you don't know it. And as general readings and general YouTube readings, standard advice applies. You know, if it don't fit, don't try and make it fit. Don't let me make decisions for you. It's not so much, well, I suppose this one is a take what resonates, because normally I would say for my more specific readings, ask a question. But this time I'm using basically oracle cards, and it's having a look at what energies I think this lunar eclipse, or I feel, or I intuit, I suppose would be a better way of saying it, or what the cards think anyway, that are bringing to us to experience throughout the effect of this lunar eclipse. Now, sometimes that can be up to 3 months. I've got stuck in my head from somewhere. I think 3 months for a lunar and 6 months for a solar. However, looking at the symbolism and looking at the astrology of it, it looks like it's definitely a build up and a preparation of the solar eclipse when that arrives in 2 weeks, another 2 weeks time. So I will be doing a show with astrologer David Fisher, looking at the astrology of this lunar eclipse, and also it's a full moon. So I will still be doing my full moon gods at play readings as well, where I will be looking also at the angels and demons and that sort of the symbolisms and the degree symbols of the lunar eclipse itself. Here, since it is a south node eclipse, that is also talking about letting things go, releasing, dealing with the past, all of that sort of stuff. So I thought I would have a look at the angel regarding the south node itself, which in this case is Menadel. But I also want to point out that this is under the influence of Neptune, 22 degrees Pisces. So under modern rulerships, it's happy, it's at home, it's at 22 degrees, it's a master number, giving it extra whammy. And have a look at Soul Garden Namaste TV, Serious Joy, sorry, on YouTube for more about step 22, as Kushwateki calls it. But this is conjunct Pallas, the asteroid Pallas, which a few astrologers have made something of. There's a great video. Well, there was a great note, but I'm sure there was a video about it. If I may suddenly think I'm imagining it, but about Neptune conjunct Pallas from Anastasia Cosmic Astrologer. But the one thing that I noticed that nobody else is talking about is that it is also conjunct the asteroid Orpheus. So Neptune conjunct Pallas is extra psychic whammy, extra psychic awareness, extra psychic atmosphere, psychically charged. It's also Pallas can be looking at the wise way to weaponize things. So I think we have to keep a very close eye on the media and see what symbols and metaphors and dreams and wishy-washy woolly ideas that they are pushing forward more and more and more in order to sway public opinion one way or another. Take that as you will. I'm not an anti-vaxxer or anything like that, so I'm not listening to that sort of aspect of it. But when we look at the patent argument about the COVID vaccine, or we look at the various other economic arguments that abound on the planet, I wouldn't be surprised if something comes up. But with this also being conjunct Orpheus, now what do we know about Orpheus? He was a musician. and he descended into the underworld to bring back to life his lover Eurydice, who had been killed by a snake bite, and he braved all sorts of challenges and unfortunately failed on the last 5 yards. But there's this image of a descent into the underworld for heroic reasons. Now, a lot of the astrologers are saying that this is a letting go of past baggage. And to be honest, some of the degree symbols back this up. But with Neptune and Pallas together, we are able to dive into our own personal underworlds, Orpheus, and note those ideas and beliefs that have been used against us, even if it is us using them against us. You know, standard counseling sort of philosophy of it's not so much what other people have told you, it's what you learned as a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old that you have to deal with. And let's face it, a 4, 5 or 6-year-old doesn't always get things right. So it looks like it's a perfect opportunity to dive into all those sorts of issues. Now, the angel, as I said, for this is Menadel. Now, as a degree angel, Menadel represents fear or fearlessness, and inner and outer work. So those, if we descend into our own underworlds, get the teeth in, then that is inner work that can have an effect on our lives, on the outer work, quite dramatically, I would say, under this Neptune Pallas Orpheus conjunction, all being ruled by Menadel. Now, Menadel is about liberation. So again, there's that letting go. Freedom and work. Not freedom from work, but finding that work that is your great work, whatever your great work may be. It's associated with Mars. So there is all this diving into the underworld. It's not just to dive into the underworld and stay there and wallow in, oh, look, I've got this issue, and oh, look, I've got that. It's a dive in, do what you need to, get out again. Now, Menadel's also a guardian of some people born under the sign of Virgo. I've not got the degrees, but I've got the dates, 18th to the 23rd of September, traditionally. So I don't know if you have your birthday in that period, you may get a bit of extra whammy from this transit, purely from that angelic resonance. Now, the interesting thing is the Chandra degree, Chandra symbol or inside degree we have is icicles melting. And the description is soul timing, slow and formative, waiting for fullness and ripeness, outliving old stuck patterns by slowly wearing them out. Something that I think we are in the process of, certainly since last year and all the crazy astrology that we've been having since late 2019. Deep process, you experience lessons in humility and simplicity. An extravagant streak which relents only after relentless pressure. Now, can you see in this symbol, there's also that tension between the Saturn-Uranus square going on. The conflict and the attempting to balance the old with the new. In fact, it says, the next thing it says here is cross purposes. You have an attachment to personal inclination of the most stubborn kind, and yet a desperate drive to get beyond the shadow. Interior dialogue and dispute. I don't think this is going to necessarily be externally a dramatic full moon. With it, the normal full moon, if you worked in all sorts of jobs, you know full moon is always a crazy night. I think the eclipse aspect would hopefully calm that down a bit. Fingers crossed. But I think internally, it promises to be a doozy. The slow burning way and allowing pride to surrender without being made wrong. Elaborate maneuvers towards significant breakthrough, which backs up everything that I was saying. Now, the Sabian symbol. Now, here's a fascinating one. Let me scroll down to it to make sure I get it right. Where have you gone? Now, it's a flag turns into an eagle. The eagle into a chanticleer saluting the dawn. Now, I see that Saturn Uranus old versus new in that symbol as well. The eagle, although it's gone down, it was a symbol of Rome, it's a symbol of America. It's not the only country that has the eagle as one of its symbols. And it comes historically, if you like your ancient alien stuff, it comes from Babylonian times, and it was the symbol of Enlil. Where, if you like your ancient aliens, you'll remember that Enlil is the one that tried to bump us all off because we were thinking too much and getting too bright. And it was his brother Enki who managed to save more than a few of us. Enki, if you're unfamiliar with Sumerian myths, you can look at Enki in a way as being a cross between Poseidon and Prometheus, because Enki was the one who gave mankind gifts and theoretically created us in the first place, and so therefore we're his pets, and he wants us to prosper, and ignore all the weird power dynamics of that statement. So in the background of this strange allegory, we recognise the deep-seated belief that the American nation and its basic democratic institutions were constituted to be the cradle for a new step in human evolution. How ironic that Dame Rudyard would look at it that way. And under modern context, absolutely. Under your ancient alien context, gets a bit weirder, doesn't it? But then again, so if you're into your conspiracy theories, this is a great one. Because the keynote of this symbol is the spiritualization and promotion of great symbols of a new age by minds sensitive to its precursory manifestations. How apropos right now, when you have everyone talking about the new age of Aquarius, that I still say we're not in it for a few hundred years yet, but we have that Aquarian energy, we have that air energy from the new 200-year, 800-year Jupiter-Saturn Great Conjunction cycle that has now entered the element of air. So even to a point, and I suppose this comes from my more scientific past, I'm a stickler for going, we are not yet in the age of Aquarius, but it really doesn't harm to start believing that we are, because of the good sides of it, because our beliefs and our actions defined by those beliefs will hopefully bring around that Aquarian paradise that everyone talks of, rather than maybe a totalitarian state, which is the shadow side of Aquarius. But let's not talk about that one. So carrying on with Dame Rudyard's interpretation, the flag is the abstract symbol of the nation. It becomes an eagle, another US symbol, when the concept is made alive by bold and transparent action. I suppose that relates to what I was just saying about the whole Age of Aquarius idea. The eagle symbolizes spiritual will and the power to rise from the highest possible altitude to the highest possible altitude of consciousness and purpose. Flying at such an altitude, the eagle is the first living creature to perceive the rising sun. Now, that he writes more about this, but I don't want this introduction to be too long. But I have not yet looked at the chart for the solar eclipse, and let's face it, I rely on David for the more technical understandings of all that anyway. But it will be interesting to see what I dig up about Amael for the full moon gods at play readings. Other than that, you can ask a question before this reading. Here's your opportunity now if you want to. I'm not going to guarantee you'll get an answer because it's not necessarily that sort of reading. But I'll bring the cards up in a second. So if you want to, pause, ask your question, concentrate on it for a few minutes and start the video again. In the meantime, yeah, I'll bring up the cards. Okay, Capricorn. Now, obviously, with this eclipse in Sagittarius, that is in your 12th house, like you haven't had enough over the past couple of years. But this seems, well, there is a real message being rammed home here with the Grove, with Mammon, with the Sacred Union. Um, Take stock of what you have already. This is not necessarily a time for surging ahead seeking for blessings. It is a time of opening your eyes and seeing what blessings are already there. There may be healing that you need to go through, or there may be healing that someone else around you needs to go through, which you can be a facilitator of. And that in itself is a beautiful thing. We start with make the grade with flying colours. Remember that you signed up for this, and this is something that that is along with this too shall pass. That's one of the phrases that I like to stick in my mind whenever I'm having a rough time. That is somewhere along the line I signed up for this. Now, that's not. I don't want that to touch on the ableist philosophy of conscious creation of your own universe, but yeah, somewhere along the line I signed up for it. So what it is for me is not oh my God, blame myself. It's okay, why did I sign up for this? Why did I? Well, why am I here? I'd be a liar if I said I wasn't a stranger to those questions. But this, how much good can you handle? Again, is not about new good stuff coming in. It's about noticing all the good that is around you, because there is support here. Spirit is definitely supporting you. We have the Ascended Masters. They made an appearance in the last for Sagittarius, and looks like they've got their eye on you, Capricorn, as well. They are creating that open communication, allowing you to communicate with people, which is a bit weird if your eclipse is in that 12th house space, which is very isolated and alone and inward. And I think what I'm feeling is that we're needing a combination of both that isolation to allow you to sit and take stock and be aware of what is around you, but also that openness and communication to see where the blessings already are, because something's coming. Something good is coming with the Ascended Masters and the Sacred Union. We've got at the very end Gabriel, the Angel of Heralds. That for me is something good. But somewhere along the line here, you're also setting something right, or something is being set right, whatever that may mean. So if you are healing for yourself, or you are making some healing, providing some healing for somebody else, either way, it is setting something right. And I believe that setting something right is really good. This vortex that we see with Make the Grade on Flying Colours, to me, well, one, it seemed like a whirl of energy that crosses across the entire reading, but also looking at it, it's a tunnel. It makes me think maybe of not quite the boom tubes of the New Gods, but that sort of, like, say, Stargate, that sort of image. You're going through to a new place. But how much good you can handle is very much noticing what's there already. And the very act of noticing what's there already brings more in, but you ain't going to get many more blessings come in unless you notice what's there, because the universe say, oh, you don't care about them blessings, do you? All right, well, I won't give you any more then. You obviously don't need them, which we both know is nonsense. There's no such thing as too many blessings. Let's see what the tarot have got to say. This Mammon, the divination from this card, from the Daemon Tarot. Beware of avarice. So again, pay attention to what you've got rather than what you're getting. Focus on gaining needs and comforts. Avoid not being able to appreciate what we have in the constant pursuit of more. That's weird because I was getting that from one of the other cards as well. But there is a vision, hopefully, and this will come from that 12th house space, a vision defining your actions, guiding your actions, whether that's inspired by spiritual forces, by Gabriel coming to announce it to you, or the ascended masters popping it in your mind, or what have you, then doesn't really matter. There is a vision coming that will lead you forward, but again, you won't see it unless you're aware of the blessings that are around you. Right, let's see what the tarot have got to add to this. Okay, these two wanted to come out. We have, yeah, because whatever this injustice is that you have the opportunity to set right is here at the start of the reading with justice reversed. So if there is that, rather makes me think there's some challenge that comes across to you, something that makes you go, hang on, that's wrong, that's unfair, it's nasty, it's mean, it's pointless, it's wrong, and that is what you are going to have to face. And by facing that, you help set that thing right. Now, if you hadn't faced it, you wouldn't have had the opportunity to set it right. So I'm assuming that by you helping set this thing right, you're having an effect on others as well as your own, which this Grove card is implying, as well as your own, as well as yourself. Yeah, because you may feel like there's not a lot of, so whatever this is, you can't do it on your own. You can observe from that 12th house space of isolation, but the accomplishing is with other people. The accomplishing is something that occurs with others. Now, this is not necessarily your chance to level up, so to speak, but I rather feel like that's something that you will be building towards, because there's new dreams that will be inspired by something that is in the environment around you already. Because with the Queen of Cups here, it's almost like whatever this injustice is, it threatens one of your dreams, one of your ideals, one of your driving forces, one of your things that you hold fairly sacrosanct. And I have no sympathy because I won't say good, because that will cause you to react against it, and then maybe you'll think about acting after you've done the reacting, because it strikes me that what occurs is something that you would consider wrong, but the action that you, or the aim that you initially would be tempted to react from is also not so much wrong as in just slightly off target. And you need a new methodology, or you need a new methodology, a new way of working, a new way of expressing, a new way of fighting this battle, which is going to set itself right. Mebahel here with truth and justice right at the end. And again, you will not be isolated in this battle. Hermit reversed with Sacred Union, and Four of Swords reversed with Mebahel. This is a healing journey, but it's for more than just you. That's really nice. And the way to move forward is inspired by some blessing that is already in your environment. So you just have to study it and be aware of it. It's the Seven of Pentacles. Sometimes I always used to consider this card to be imagining that the grass is greener somewhere else. I used to think of the fact that this young lad had his one pentacle and is gazing longingly at the bush where there's another six, and he's only got one. And poor me, I've only got one. But it's also a card of working on your harvest. And I don't want to use the analogy of the grass is greener somewhere else. I want to use that image of you make the grass green where you are, or you become aware of how green that grass is, and you work towards making everybody's grass green, if that makes sense. So, yeah, this is going to be fun for you, Capricorn, isn't it? Because all at once you're going to be having that isolated, isolated is the wrong word, solitary way of viewing everything, but quite a communal way of acting forward. And no, you won't see just results immediately, because this is not time for you to level up yet, but this is setting up your leveling up for later. So if that means anything to you already, Capricorn, then please do comment down below, because then I know I'm not just talking to a camera and making a fool of myself. But yeah, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, because you are welcome to join. And thank you to those of you who have subscribed. It really does help, and with the like button. And so, yeah. Good luck, Capricorn, because this is an interesting way to look forward, but you're better off than you think you are. In fact, that's what I'll call the reading. You're better off than you think you are. All right. Cheers.